Random Talk episode 12. Welcome. We made it. So today we're going to be talking about don't be fooled. And what I mean by that is when it comes to entrepreneurship, do not be fooled by the title. Don't get caught up in the hype, because it is not easy. Now, some people, there are different ways to become an entrepreneur. There are different reasons to become an entrepreneur, but by no means is it easy. Now, some people are just born into it. What I mean by that is that they are born into a business, like it's a family-owned business. Now, that is a little different. It can be tricky too, because sometimes just because we're born into it does not mean it's what we want. It's not the path that's designed for us. So those people that go through that, they go through a lot of things that they have to process and try to figure out because they don't want to let down their family. Then there are those people who have the money to start their own business and become an entrepreneur. Now, sometimes you may think just because they have the money that that's easy, but sometimes you can have the money and not have the skill. So sometimes people are just fooled just because they have that money. They are fooled by the thought process that they have the money so they can make this business work, and then it flops. Then you have the people who have the skill, they have the determination, they have the, just the mindset that they want to start a business. They may not have the money. They may not have the capital, as some people say. They want to start their own business. And surprisingly, the people who are in that situation are the ones a lot of times that will push because they have the drive. Now, I say don't be fooled because some people just love to say, yeah, I have my own business. Oh, I'm the CEO of my business, or I am, whatever title they want to give themselves. And don't get me wrong, titles are wonderful, but don't get caught up. Don't be fooled, because when you are deciding to be an entrepreneur, and I say that because I was never an entrepreneur. I had an entrepreneur spirit, but I was never an entrepreneur until about 3.5 years ago, maybe almost 4 years ago. So the reason I say don't be fooled is because I'm out here looking at these people hollering about, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business, but they don't even know how to run the business. They don't know what to do to be able to gain income for a business. And can I just say, if you have a business and it's not paying your bills in any type of way, like the business is not even paying its own bills, then you have a hobby. You don't have a business, you have a hobby. Now, this subject is just because it's personal to me, because I don't want us to get ourselves caught up into, oh, I'm going to go start this business, and you do not think that thing through. Because when you start a business, oh my goodness, you may have people that are going to be in line that will help you. Now, people out there running your own businesses, tell me if I'm wrong, but you'll have some people that are just down with you, and they're going to help you, they're going to assist you, and that's a miracle if you find those, because they're hard to find. But then when times get hard, it gets a little shaky with some of those people, unless you find the people who have the same heart that you have for the business. But then you have some people who sit and they become an entrepreneur, but they just jump in it because they want the title. But then when it starts to, get to that place where you have to put in the work, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm just saying, don't be fooled by the title. We get so caught up, not even just being an entrepreneur. People get caught up in the titles in these jobs. They take jobs because they like that the title is fancy. Baby, give me the money any day. You can have your title. I just need the money. But no, regardless of the money, regardless of the title, I need to know that I'm able to do it. I need to know that I have some type of work skill in me to do this. I would look like I have lost my mind if someone came along and they're an artist and they say, oh, come on over here and help me with this artwork. I would not do that to them, because I know there is not one artistic bone in these hands of mine. So I am honest with myself. And then you have those that will be offered, and I have been offered jobs and positions that, oh, it looks nice, the perks and the benefits, but I don't have the work skill. So why would I drive myself crazy? Now, about me and my personal life experience, for those of you that have been following along with Novelty Woman and Novelty Woman Speaks, you will know that I wasn't always an entrepreneur. There were many reasons as to how I fell into becoming an entrepreneur. Now, my goal funny how we have our own goals, but sometimes the higher person with the higher power in this universe will shift that thing and transition it to be a different, a different pathway for you. My goal was to start entrepreneurship when my youngest son graduated from high school, and that just did not happen. So when I was going through my sickness, and on top of the sickness, the job that I was working, they were not considerate. They were not understanding. They just did not care. And I'm sure a lot of people can, understand where I'm coming from. So the job was stressful, which was, taking a toll on my health as well. My health alone was declining rapidly. And so I was just I had to force myself to go into resignation. So I resigned from my position. Now, this was a job. I had been with this company for 13 years. I was salaried. I knew what my money was going to be every 2 weeks, and that becomes a comfortable place for those of you that have a salary job. And so when I had to make the choice, I went to work, and it was not planned. I just went to work, and they were being rude and disrespectful. And I had just came back from a doctor's appointment, had the worst news of my life. And in that moment, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so that's when I contacted the Human Resource Department, and we discussed me leaving on family medical leave. And honestly, that is how my journey for entrepreneurship began. Now, if you are considering to be an entrepreneur, there are different levels to it. Everyone is not fortunate to be able to leave their job. And honestly, it wasn't a level of being fortunate on my behalf, because I had to get healed. I had to get better because I was so sick. So even though I started a business at the same time that my health was declining, that first year, I didn't really do anything because I was just that sick. But for those of you that are interested in becoming an entrepreneur, I just say don't be fooled. You really need to do your research. You really need to dig deep and figure out what it is that you want to do. Don't just jump off the dive board and say, I'm going to go do this, and then you're in lost land because you don't know what you're doing. You have to figure out your work skills. See, with me, I am fortunate enough that I am skilled in so many different areas. And so that's why I'm able to do a lot of the work for myself. And that's an amazing thing for me, but everyone is not fortunate enough. And that does not mean that you cannot become an entrepreneur, but that does mean that you have to find systems and put them in place. They are called internal operations. Who is going to manage this? Who is going to handle that? And then that way you don't set yourself up for failure. So if you're going to be a full-time entrepreneur, that's going to be a thing. Believe me, it took me, I went through many levels of tears and frustration because I was so used to salary. And when I went and started off on my own in the beginning, I was not used to that fluctuation, for those of you that know about being your own boss. So that's why I say, don't be fooled by the title of entrepreneur, because when you really get into that thing, it is so different. So always make sure you do your research, you do some self-reflections and find out what you are able to do. And if you are not able to do a lot of the management of your business, then you have to have people set in place. And you also have to be willing to work. So many people are caught up on these titles. You get a title and oh my goodness, you can have a title. I see people have a title with no money increase, no income increase, but baby, they think they are doing it. Now for me, I barely tell people that I'm in business for myself unless it comes up in conversation. That may be good, that may be bad, but it's just like, for me, titles aren't that big. It's just the work that's put into it, the effort, and that's what I want all of you to understand. So don't just be caught up in saying I'm a CEO or I'm in charge of my business, because you really have to be a boss, like a boss, because being an entrepreneur, being the person in charge, it is not easy. And especially if you have people that you have to pay on your salary, on your your pay scale, if you have to be responsible for giving people a paycheck, that thing about being in charge, just like being a parent and you have to oversee and look after and be responsible for your children, it's the same thing on a job. Now, me personally, I don't have anyone to be concerned about with payment but myself, and it's hard enough trying to pay myself. Does that mean, now this is another thing, people get it confused. People think just because you run your own business and you may not have other people in the business with you, they feel like, or they will try to make you feel like, because I know people have sat in conversations and tried to make me feel like I wasn't as much of a business owner as someone that had 5 or 6 people working with them. Let me tell you, I do it just as well as people with 5 or 6 people working for them. So never let people make you feel or downplay what you are doing. When I can get to a place that I can find people to do what I do and do it just as well as me without me having to be over your shoulder and tell you constantly of what to do, then I will get them people on board with me. But until I can find those people, you may know somebody, send them my way, but do not ever feel like because you might be a one-person business, if you are that person, it is okay. You stick your chest out and do it with pride because you are doing it just as well as anyone else. And if you are struggling in areas, don't feel ashamed to be able to go to someone else. But the biggest part of this random talk that I want you to take from this is do not be fooled by the title entrepreneur, because it is not an easy thing. It took some time. Now I'm going on 4 years and I think I am just getting to a place that I say, okay, I can see where this thing is going. And some days I don't even see it then, but I know what my goals are. And so that's the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur. So I know I went over my time for this random talk, but I just wanted to put that little special delivery out there in case you're thinking about being an entrepreneur or in case you are already one. It takes some work, some self-discipline, some motivation, and it takes determination. So don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing. And if you think that you can't do it, come chat with me and I'll motivate you and you can motivate me, because baby, it is hard out here. Don't be fooled by the titles. Make sure that you subscribe to Novelty Woman Speaks if you have not already done so, and be sure to tune in for the next Random Talk.